It's wild how much time we spend mentally solving problems that only exist in our imagination, playing out conversations that haven't happened, preparing defenses for situations that don't even exist. You lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, building disaster scenarios in your head like it's your part-time job, and you call it being prepared. But worrying doesn't prepare you. It paralyzes you. It locks you into a loop where your nervous system is on high alert, even when there's no real threat. It just makes you exhausted. And the moment you step back, even for a second, you realize how much of your mental energy was being drained by thoughts that had no business being there in the first place. Worry didn't help. Presence did. And here's the most surprising part. When you stop worrying, you don't become careless. You become focused. And that's where everything begins to shift. Not because life magically becomes perfect, but because you're no longer living in a future that's built entirely on fear. Most people don't realize it, but worry is just the brain trying to feel useful when it's scared. It's like a faulty survival instinct, constantly scanning for what could go wrong, trying to predict every possible outcome, as if worrying hard enough will somehow keep bad things from happening. But here's the problem. It's an illusion of control. Worry gives you the sensation that you're doing something, thinking, preparing, planning, but in reality, you're just spinning your wheels. And the worst part, while you're busy obsessing over what might go wrong, life is quietly unfolding right in front of you. Opportunities pass you by. Moments slip through your fingers. You miss out on peace, connection, creativity, not because they aren't there, but because worry makes you blind to them. The real shift happens when you stop asking, what if everything goes wrong, and start asking, what if I'll be okay even if it does? That one question changes everything, because confidence isn't built by avoiding chaos. It's built by moving through it, one grounded breath at a time. It's built by realizing that you can meet discomfort without collapsing, that you can face uncertainty without losing yourself, that you don't need to have all the answers. You just need to stay present enough to hear them when they come. When you stop feeding the worry, you stop needing to predict the path. You learn to respond instead of panic. You trust that whatever comes, you'll show up for it. Not perfectly, not with a flawless plan, but with presence, clarity, and calm. You stop trying to control every detail and start becoming the kind of person who doesn't need to, because your presence alone carries strength. And that's when things around you begin to change, not because you forced them to, but because you stopped fighting them with worry. Worry has a way of turning small things into monsters. A single unread message becomes a sign someone's upset with you. A quiet room becomes proof you're not doing enough. One unexpected event, and suddenly your whole day feels like it's spiraling. But what if you didn't add meaning? What if you didn't jump to conclusions? What if you simply let things be what they are, without instantly making them personal, negative, or permanent? This is where life starts to simplify itself. Not because you've gained more control, but because you've stopped coloring everything with fear. One of the most freeing things you can do is stop narrating your life with worry. You don't need to constantly analyze how things will unfold. You don't need to forecast disaster. You don't need to overplan for every possible outcome. In fact, the most powerful people you'll meet often seem oddly calm in the face of chaos, not because they've mastered life, but because they've stopped letting their minds tell a scary story about every unknown. They know the truth. When you stop obsessing over what might happen, you finally have space to focus on what is happening. That's where the growth is. You take better care of your body because you're not drained by mental chaos. You show up in your relationships differently because you're not stuck in loops of doubt and guilt and what-ifs. Worry feeds on imaginary futures, but peace, real peace, lives in the now, and once you begin to feel that kind of peace, even in small doses, you'll start to realize something important. Nothing outside you actually changed. You changed, and the world began responding to that. There's this quiet superpower.